This week on VA News, we have these stories and more.
Robert McDonald is confirmed and sworn in as the 8th Secretary for Veterans Affairs.
VA will get a $17 billion increase, but must spend it differently than requested.
And VA looks for ways to meet the needs of a rising number of women veterans.
Hello, I am Lena Jordi Crispal, a rising junior at the United States Military Academy at West Point, and a VA intern this summer in the Office of Public and Intergovernmental Affairs.
And I'm Jose Llamas with the Office of Public and Intergovernmental Affairs. This is VA News.
The VA Insurance Center has had a lot of changes in the past year. With 240 days to apply, more veterans have applied for Veterans Group Life Insurance without medical evidence. And we welcomed over 35,000 veterans into our insurance programs. So what changes happened in your life this year? Did you get married? Have a new baby or two? Get divorced? Lose a loved one? Or did you or a beneficiary move to a new home? All of those are reasons why you should update your beneficiary. It's not just about paperwork. It's about ensuring the ones you love will be taken care of if you're gone. So review your beneficiary every year. And if you have to make a change, go to the website on your screen for the forms you need.
On July 29th, the Senate unanimously confirmed former Procter & Gamble CEO Robert McDonald as Secretary of the Department of Veteran Affairs. He took the oath in his new office the next day, and on July 31st began the daunting task of leading the federal government's second largest agency in what promises to be an unprecedented period of transition. He delivered a live TV and web-based address to VA employees on that first full day as VA's 8th Secretary.
VA has made tremendous strides in serving veterans, thanks to your commitment and your dedication. And we're going to continue to depend on the strong support of Congress and on collaboration with veteran service organizations, nonprofit organizations, volunteers, and many other stakeholders. But right now, the veterans are in need, and we have work to do. I can think of no higher calling than to work with all of you as one team with one dream, providing veterans the best care and services in an efficient and timely manner. With your support, I am confident that we will succeed.
Secretary McDonald immediately established a busy itinerary to visit and hold town hall meetings at VA medical facilities, beginning with the Phoenix VA.
Lawmakers hurried to pass a proposed budget increase before the August recess to show their support for veterans and their intent to address VA challenges. Before the confirmation of Secretary McDonald, the House Veterans Affairs Committee took issue with Acting Secretary Sloan Gibson's proposal for a $17.6 billion increase.
You come from a banking background. If somebody came into your bank with 3 pieces of paper and asked for $1 million, would you give them $1 million?
The honest answer there is it probably would depend on who the borrower was. But I understand your point. The committee needs additional information.
It was more about how it would be spent than the amount. After the House hearing, House and Senate VA committee members agreed to a supplemental appropriation closer to $16 billion to be spent differently than the administration proposed. The compromise bill calls for $5 billion to hire new doctors, nurses, and other healthcare providers, authorization for 27 new facilities in a dozen states, and $10 billion to pay for private medical care for veterans to reduce time they wait for care. The administration proposal did not include funding for private medical care or the Hills requirement that $5 billion come from existing program funding. Here is what the Senate and House committee chairmen said about their proposed increase for VA.
This bill makes certain that we address the immediate crisis of veterans being forced onto long waiting lines for health care. It strengthens the VA so that it will be able to hire the doctors, nurses, and other medical personnel it needs so that we can put a permanent end to long waiting lists. It addresses the very serious problems of accountability and make certain that dishonest and incompetent senior officials at the VA do not remain employed there. And in addition, it provides some other significant benefits for veterans and their families.
We have been working on this diligently from the days that this has passed both bodies. The fact that there had been little action or movement for a long period of time, I think, was exaggerated. Senator Sanders and I, among other members of the conference committees, have worked very diligently to try to bring this into closure before we left for the August recess, and that has always been the deadline that we had set to be able to get this bill passed by both houses before we went home.
During production of this show, President Obama and Secretary McDonald were at a ceremony at Fort Belvoir, an Army base in Fairfax County, Virginia, for the President to sign the Veterans Accountability Act passed by Congress less than a week earlier.
Women are entering the U.S. Armed Forces in record numbers. 20% of all new recruits, male and female, are women. There are 250,000 women on active duty and 2 million veterans.
And while this record number of women are taking the oath to protect and defend the U.S., VA is beefing up its efforts to take care of them when it's time to return to civilian life. Here's a report on a recent VA Research and Development Conference aimed at increasing services for women veterans.
The face of our veteran population is changing.
The population of women veterans is growing very dramatically, and the number coming to VA is ramping up, and we need to be able to anticipate their needs, to know what they're going to come in for, and have the best health services available for them. So, for example, learning here that musculoskeletal injuries and joint pain issues are the highest number for our recent deployments, that helps us think about specialty care and orthopedics and pain management for women.
In anticipation of the growing number of women veterans and recognition of their special health care needs, VA developed a comprehensive women's health research agenda to inform VA healthcare policy and services and ensure accessible, quality care for women veterans.
This conference is really the culmination of more than 10 years of work to try to grow research on the healthcare of women veterans.
Among the topics addressed at this conference, research and collaboration.
It is very important to be able to network with other women's health researchers, to be able to get together and talk face-to-face about our current research projects, what we have planned, what we think is needed, to be able to talk to our operational partners about what they most need and how we can be of most help is critical, and this conference provides that opportunity.
With the expansion of women serving in the military, experts say by 2018, nearly 15% of the veteran population will consist of women.
We have some stories about members of our favorite club of all, the Centenarian Club. First, we have a nice story from Columbus, Ohio about a World War II veteran who signed up for VA coverage on his 106th birthday this year. Videographer Tom Ullum shot and produced the story, with some help from the colleagues at Commerce P. Wiley Ambulatory Care Center in Columbus.
I think America's the best country in the world.
Recently, World War II veteran William Dormier celebrated his 106th birthday.
My hearing's about the worst thing that's wrong with me right now.
An Ohio native, William, or Pops his unit in the Army called him, is the oldest living veteran in Richland County and possibly in all of Ohio. With his grandson, Robert, helping to relay questions in a rare interview, Pops shared tales of traveling the world in places like
France, Belgium, Holland, Germany, Panama, the Philippines.
But there was one more place Pops had on his list of places to travel, the Seabach in Mansfield, Ohio. Enrolled on his 106th birthday, Pops and his family were given a tour of the fairly new community-based outpatient clinic. And why did his unit call him Pops? We found out that William Dormier had a strong desire to serve his country and enlisted at age 35, an older age for a young man's war. Whether enlisting into the armed forces at 35 or enrolling into VA healthcare at age 106, this veteran is a proven testament to the saying, "You're never too old."
I feel pretty good, though, for being that old. I don't think there's anything wrong with me.
Ed Sachs, reporting from Columbus, Ohio.
Did you know the 100th anniversary of World War I was on August 4th? Somber ceremonies were held across Europe, the most colorful and striking on August 5th at the Tower of London, where artist Paul Cummins was commissioned to fill the moat with ceramic poppies. The art is entitled Blood-Swept Lands and Seas of Red, and by summer's end, 888,246 poppies are expected to be in the moat. That is a number of British casualties in the war. How about this centenarian? 108-year-old San Antonio native Lucy Coffey, thought to be the nation's oldest living female veteran, took an honor flight to Washington for one last look at the World War II memorial. The decorated member of the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps was there for the liberation of the Philippines. While in Washington, she got to visit the White House and President Obama and Vice President Biden. Check out the VA blog on Lucy from West Point cadet Lena Jordi Cruzval. The day before Lucy Coffey was at the World War II memorial, one of its greatest benefactors, former Senator Bob Dole, was there with his wife Elizabeth to visit with veterans and celebrate his 91st birthday. We hope we're still here to celebrate Senator Dole's induction into the Centenarian Club. That's all for this week's show. I'm Jose Llamas.
And I'm Lena Jordi Cruzval. Thank you for watching VA News, and have a great day and rest of the week.